What's going on, Special K? Can you hear me? I'm showing up here a little bit late, of course, but I'll stick around for like a good 40 minutes. From North Carolina, nice. What part of North Carolina? I'm actually going to North Carolina this weekend. Shonda Hall. I know I'm showing up a little bit late. I'll stay on here for 1 second. I'll stay on here. I'll stay on here. I'm gonna give it like another maybe 3 to 4 minutes to allow more people to jump on, and then we can kind of take it from there. So North Carolina, Greensboro. I don't even know where. Honestly, I don't know much about North Carolina, to be honest. But how far is Greensboro from Charlotte? I know where Charlotte is at. Everybody else who's on here, just let me know if you guys can hear me clear. I just want to make sure the mic is working and that we're good to go. Shame on you. Nevea. I like that name. Nevea from San Antonio. About an hour. Okay, that's not too far. I know, like I said, I know where Charlotte is at. I mean, everybody knows where Charlotte is at, or they should at least. I actually flew into Charlotte on a layover one time, so multiple times actually. So I know where Charlotte is at. Um, cool. Yeah. So like I said, we're gonna give it maybe about 2 more minutes now. We're gonna jump right into it. We got 8 people on here. We'll probably have about no more than maybe 10 to 15 people. Um, I kind of just jump on here spur of the moment just to get a good Q&A in, for people to ask questions and you know get some clarity on certain things that they might need help with in their dispatching business. Guys, I also just put a video out recently. Actually, yesterday. I put one out yesterday. So let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Nevea already said San Antonio. Shonda said Greensboro, North Carolina. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from as we wait for some people to jump on. All right, thank you. That video from yesterday was great, Bruce. I really, really appreciate it. So I really wanted to just make a video where one second. What's today? Yeah, so I mean, I really just wanted to make a video where, it's just basic and simple. A lot of my videos typically on YouTube are really, very, very detailed, and I think the videos become really, really long. And for whatever reason, people are attracted to videos with good information, but not so much time for whatever reason. So it's possible to compact a lot of information into one video. Of course, you can't get all the same information you'll get in a longer video, but there's ways to make it more consolidated and still dish out good information. So I wanted to try to just do that, but I was itching to kind of cover some of the in betweens as I was going. But I appreciate it though, Bruce. Rockford, Illinois. I know where Rockford, Illinois is at because I actually had a driver that would go there to uh pick up freight to come back to Pennsylvania. Vanessa says Florida. What part of Florida? Box Chevy girl. Uh, she says Georgia. Nice. You know where I've been to in Georgia that I really like? Savannah. Savannah, maybe because it's so close to the shore, but Savannah was a really beautiful place. And it kind of reminded me of like, well, I mean, it's right by Jacksonville, so, but I love Georgia, Savannah. Warren J says be more, not Baltimore, but be more. Nice. Uh, I've been to Bmore. I have a good friend that's from Baltimore. He's from Baltimore County, so I don't know if that's the same thing or what. I don't know if maybe that's the suburbs. South Florida, Chicago. Nice, nice, nice. I've never been to Chicago. I've never been to Illinois. My daughter goes to school there. Nice. In Savannah. That's awesome. Go to school in Savannah. I have been planning to get into dispatching for a while, but I am now starting to pull the trigger. That's awesome. You get a lot of people like that. You know, they just come across these videos and they kind of just store it in the back of their mind and just like, okay, one day I'm going to get to it. And then they find the right time to execute. Nothing wrong with that. Boynton Beach. Is that Florida? I'm assuming that's what Vanessa was saying. Boynton Beach. Yeah, Boynton. But where's Boynton Beach at? Is that on the Tampa side or the West Palm side? Like, all right, I think we're good to go though. We shouldn't have more than about 15 people on here. So I'll tell you what. More people are definitely going to be coming on as we continue. But in the meantime, we can just get right into it, guys. Whether you're here because you've seen my box truck content, or whether you're here because you've seen my trucking content or independent freight dispatching, whatever it is, guys, shoot your questions off. I'm gonna try to answer every single person's question, and so that everybody has clarity, and where everybody's in a different everybody's in a different point. Everybody's at a different point in their company or in their business, or some of you might not have even started, but you still want some clarity on certain things. So guys, ask questions. Let me know what you guys are confused about or just want to know more about. Boynton Beach is West Palm. Nice. I love West Palm. West Palm's beautiful. All right. 83 box Chevy girl says, I'm getting my business started on Friday for box truck. Nice, nice, nice. Now, question, box truck or box Chevy. I'm just gonna call you Chevy girl for short. Did you buy your box truck, or are you renting or leasing one? Uh Moxie says, I'm a retired EMS service and repair dispatcher looking to get into freight dispatching. I have been watching videos and was considering a one-on-one call with you. What do you normally cover in those calls? So in those calls, to be honest, those calls are really conducted by the person purchasing it. So the whole idea is to get a line of questions together. Now, if you don't have any questions, uh, you know, usually everybody I've ever did a one-on-one with, they always had questions to go off of. If you don't have a question, I typically just go into the basics and I kind of flow. And as I flow, you can ask questions as I go, but I start from the basics and I go up because everybody's at a different point in their journey as far as starting a dispatching company. I can't start one place and then because I wouldn't know where you're at. So I start from the foundation. I build my way up until I, reach where you're at, and then you can ask questions from there. So our one-on-ones are conducted like that. If you're more interested in a one-on-one through Zoom, we do that. That's going to be a little bit more costly. Those consultation calls, those are the ones I get mostly, so they can get a little, uh, I don't want to say overwhelming, but just sometimes those can get booked up pretty much. And then we also do a 30-minute phone call. So the phone calls are optional too. it depends on what kind of questions you have and if you need a visual in front of you. Chevy Girl says, "What paperwork do I need to start?" And you're getting ready to rent. Nice. So if you're starting a box truck company, here's something that I'll tell you that you do need that a lot of people don't realize that they need before they start. Make sure that you have a binder with all of your paperwork in it. So I don't know if you're driving or if you have a driver, but make sure that you have a binder that has your registration for the truck. If you're renting the truck, then have your lease or rental agreement in the truck. Have it all nice. Have it laminated in a binder. You're gonna want your authority certificate, which you don't necessarily need, but I recommend you have it in there. You're gonna want what's the word I'm looking for? You're gonna want 8 to 10 paper truck logs. The reason why you're gonna want that is because every commercial vehicle driver is mandated to have that just in case their ELD goes down. So if you're traveling, you know, interstate, you're gonna need an ELD. So if you have an ELD, each ELD is always gonna come with a manual. You want to have that manual in that binder. Let me see. You're gonna want your UCR registration receipt. You don't need that, but it's good to have. You're gonna want your certificate of insurance and insurance ID cards. So it's almost similar to the type of things you would need if you got pulled over in a regular car. But there are other things. You're gonna also want your DOT med card. You're gonna want that because you have to have that. So those things is what you're gonna need as in a binder in your truck. As far as any other paperwork, I mean, it depends on how you're getting your freight and things like that. So I guess if you want to be more specific, I can answer those questions and more specifically. Warren J says, "How can you hire other dispatchers while you run the business?" That's a good question. So that would mean that you're looking to outsource your business. If you're looking to outsource your dispatch business, that means you're growing, so it's great. It means good. The best way to hire a dispatcher is two ways, of course. You can either hire them as an independent contractor or as an employee. If you hire them as an employee, of course, you're going to have to pay payroll taxes, unemployment taxes, workers' compensation. So there are expenses that come with hiring an employee. Or you can hire them as an independent contractor and kind of follow the same model as freight brokers do. So freight brokers, they have agents under them that are independent contractors under that particular freight brokerage. And they basically go on a split. So it might be like a 70-30 split, 75-25 split. And then sometimes they get paid a base pay depending on what they're doing and stuff. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is just to hire them on as a dispatch agent. Just follow that same model. Make sure that you're doing it the right way, because there has been a lot of arguments on independent contractors versus employees and what really outlines whether you are one or the other. So make sure you get some maybe legal help in that area to make sure that it is an actual independent contractor, which it is, but just to be sure. Bruce says, "I know that factoring companies are known for carrier or brokers, but does a dispatcher need to find one to help get paid?" No. So it's another good question, Bruce. For dispatchers to get paid, you literally just invoice the carrier. So although you may factor for your carrier, that has nothing to do with you and how you get compensated. You're compensated by the services that you offer, which is dispatching, if you factor, and then and then whatever other services you offer. The factoring and what the carrier gets paid is separate than what you get paid. You just invoice them at the end of the week for your services, and so for that reason, you don't need to sign up with a factoring company. In fact, you shouldn't be able to sign up with a factoring company, because in order to sign up with a factoring company, you need what's called an MC number, which you don't have as a dispatcher, and neither can you get, because dispatchers don't need to be licensed. So Vanessa says, "I took the course a year ago and I didn't have any guidance. I gave up." Wow, that's unfortunate, Vanessa. I know we did do a mentorship. So I tried to do the mentorship program just to kind of keep in contact with people. I think the reality of it is that I believe it really just goes based upon a person's drive for what they're wanting to go after. I try my very best to give everybody information and stay up to date. The reason why I don't do mentorship is because it's extremely time consuming, and I don't have the time to really do that. I have other things that I also do besides dispatching, and so I recently just launched a nonprofit, so I'm getting myself tied into that as well. So I really hope that you get back into it. Go watch, go back and watch some videos and just go after it. Don't give up. I mean, any entrepreneurial experience is gonna get tough, no matter what you do. When I first started doing this, I started off in trucking. I started off driving. Then I built up a fleet of 3 trucks, and then little by little, everything fell apart. One of the trucks crashed. Another one, the hood ripped off. It was just a lot of chaos, and I had to actually forfeit and give back and get rid of those trucks because they were no good, and kind of start from the ground up. But that's a part of any entrepreneurial experience. Uh, off rip says, can I still get carriers without posting on social media? Because I'm not a good social media type of person. Yeah, you could do email campaigns, SMS blasts. If you have some money to the side that you're able to use, you can go find a freelancer or somebody who can handle marketing and have them run Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and different kinds of ads so that you can attract carriers to your website. But you don't need to be on social media, but it's just that social media is such a great tool because truck drivers drive and they get bored. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're just, scrolling through social media. So it's a good way to reach them. All right, let me see another question. We got succeed or starve. Now, guys, I'm answering your questions one by one, so forgive me if it's taking a little bit to get to your question. Succeed or starve says, do you think it would be wise to add dispatching as a service to a logistics transportation company or make a completely separate business entity and website for dispatching? Really good question. So what I did and what I recommend you guys to do is you don't have to start and register a whole separate LLC or anything like that and a whole separate EIN. Just create a DBA. So DBA stands for doing business as. It's basically like a nickname for your business. So my name is Francisco, but people call me Frank. But whether they call me Frank or Francisco, they're still addressing me. So you can, let's say you have ABC Trucking and you run a fleet out of that. You can then name it ABC Dispatching and then just register the DBA. It's also called a fictitious name. Register that fictitious name or DBA as a part of your already created LLC, and you're able to do that. You know who does that too? Like, I'll give you a real life example. If you ever seen a Giant Food Market, which is up north, uh, their company's actually called like Martin's Foods LLC or something like that, but their DBA is Giant Food Markets. So it all falls under the same thing, all under the same EIN. And so I recommend doing that. But if you have a company name, let's say ABC Logistics, logistics is a broad term, so it can mean a lot of different things. So you could even keep that name. But I know for me, I named my company Covenant Hauling. So I kind of had to switch it. Not switch it. I kind of had to add a DBA because hauling and dispatching are two different things. Looking back, I would have just named it Covenant Logistics. So Special K says, I'm in the process of setting up freight dispatch company. Any recommendations for websites, building, and logo? How do I get carriers? I'm nervous. So to answer the first part of your question, Wix.com is great. They're extremely user friendly and they help you build your own website. You can also pay a professional for a low cost to help you build the website and help you with what's called SEO, which I kind of touch base on a little bit with my most recent video that I posted on YouTube. So that stands for search optimization, search engine optimization. It's basically like a strategy, or really there's like a science to it. And basically there's just ways that you can do certain things to your website, add certain words that will attract carriers to your website. So I recommend Wix. Logo wise, you can go to Fiverr, find someone to get you a logo, a freelancer. You can go to Canva. Canva's another great website you can use and create your own logo. So I recommend those two. And how do I get carriers? That's that's a that's such a broad question. The most simple way to answer that question is market. Find the best marketing strategy that works for you and capitalize on it. And that's how you get your drivers. Do you dispatch all carriers that reach out to you, or have you turned any down? Yeah, I turned a lot of box truck drivers down. I have a dispatcher. I have a dispatcher, and he likes to dispatch for box truck drivers. But outside of that, I turn down box truck drivers, and I turn down anybody that doesn't is not willing to drive over the road. At least regional, at least regional. But I'm looking for over the road, so I do turn people down a lot actually. If so, what was the reason? Okay, yeah, so I answered that. Where do we find trucks? So, Chevy Girl, you can actually find box trucks for a decent price. Now, of course, there's you have to be mindful and careful. Link up with someone who's knowledgeable in commercial vehicles. You can actually go on auctions. They'll have box trucks. They always have box trucks on auctions. There's I remember I always share this story. I know this guy who purchased a box truck for like $1,500 or something like that, and there was only one thing wrong with it, and it cost them like another $1,500 to fix, and it had like about 400,000 miles on it, but those things can run up to like seven and more. So they were able to make a lot of money off of it and bought it for less than $3,000. So auctions are a great option. Another place like Penske, Enterprise, Ryder, whenever their trucks reach a certain mileage, they sell them. So those are another place that you can find them as well. Bruce says, when you negotiate a load price, is it a good idea to add your percentage in? Do you mean when you're speaking with the freight broker, or do you mean in general? Like, do you mean like, do you consider your percentage within the rate that you're negotiating? Vanessa says, thanks, no problem. Warren says, can you dispatch while working full time? Depends on which shift you work, Warren. If you work night shift, then absolutely. If you work morning shift, unless you have a lot of flexibility at your job, it'll be extremely hard. Succeed or Starve says, thank you, brother. Keep up with the great work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. Bruce says, I have heard a lot of talk about credit checks and TMS. Can to explain it? So credit checks are basically so every freight brokerage has a credit score, and that credit score is based upon how long they've been in the industry, and then how the track record of how they've been paying their drivers. So within the trucking industry, there's a 20 to 30 day standard. I believe it's 20 to 30 day standard that a freight broker has to pay the driver or the carrier after they've completed the load. So some brokers play around with that, and they take forever to pay. Some brokers don't pay. And so the credit score is a reflection on whether or not they're a good company or a brokerage to run freight through. A TMS system, TMS stands for Transportation Management Software. That's just the software that shippers, freight brokers, and carriers use to basically manage the day-to-day operations of their business. So Off Rip says, when you filter on the load boards carriers looking for loads, can you just dispatch a lot of carriers for that one load? Wait, maybe let me read that again. Maybe when you filter on the load board, carriers looking for loads, can you just dispatch a lot of carriers for that one load? So I think I know what you're saying. So if you're basically saying, if you find a load, can you dispatch multiple trucks for that same load? Is that what you're saying? Bruce says yes within. Okay, I think you're talking about the percentage. So when you're talking to a freight broker, you don't want to let them know your percentage. But if you mean something that you're considering as you're negotiating, then yes, absolutely. That's a really good question. And I actually talked about that in one of my videos, talking about how to negotiate a load. Because when you got to look at it like this. When you are booking a load for your driver, there's going to be the deadhead, which is the mileage that the driver has to travel before they're loaded. There's going to be the loaded miles, which is the mileage that the driver or the carrier travels while loaded from pickup to drop off. And then there's going to be what you charge. So there's going to be a rate per mile based upon the loaded miles. But if you add in the deadhead miles, that's going to, of course, reduce the rate per mile. So the rule of thumb is you always ask the carrier what amount of deadhead miles are you safe with for every load that we book you. So let's just say they say 80. That means as long as you're within that 80, you don't have to add that when you're considering the rate per mile for that load, because that's just how it works. Sometimes you have to deadhead. Now, when you're booking a load and negotiating a load, you always want to consider your percentage, because if you can book them a load, keep them above the rate that they're looking for, and then add in a little bit more that would kind of cover your fee, they're not necessarily taking a loss because you're paying yourself in a way, if that makes sense. So if there's a load that's for $700 and the rate and it's going 350 miles, that's $2 per load. But let's say you say, hey, can I get this for 800? So you're going above the $2 per mile and then some. So technically the driver or the carrier never really lost out on money, because the money that they used to pay you was already above that $2 rate per mile. Does that make sense? Hopefully I explained that good. Nevaeh Covington says, for your information, if anyone needs logos, my husband is a graphic designer. Please feel free to reach out to me. So yeah, there you guys go. If you're looking for logos, Nevaeh's husband does them. Is there a system that someone can get for credit checks? So good question. There's 2 ways you can find out a broker's credit check. Actually, there's 3 ways. I'm going to give you 3. Number 1, you can look them up on what's called SAFER, Safer. I honestly forgot what that's abbreviated for. I cover that in one of my videos, or actually multiple of my videos. You look up their MC number, find them. Once you find them, you'll be able to look up that information. The other thing you can do is when you're looking them up on the load board will always have their credit posted. And then thirdly, every factoring company has a credit check system that they use to vet drivers. So you don't necessarily need to use a system. You can utilize the factoring company's credit system to vet freight brokers. Off Rip says, no, on the load board it shows a filter for carriers that's looking for loads. So can I just contact them and book a load for them? Okay, so you mean like if you're a carrier and you're looking for loads, that you can post your truck made available for loads. I think that's what you're trying to say. Or do you mean you can look up carriers that are looking for loads, filter out carriers that are looking for loads, and then contact those carriers? Which, sure, you could do that, but then you have to have a load for them. So sure, you could, like, for example, another strategy that people could do is they could go on Trucker Path and find drivers in a particular area, that's looking for freight, but then you have to have freight ready to present to them. But yeah, you could do that. Bruce Willis says, that way you get the driver what they want and your percentage don't come out their pay. Exactly. Yeah, I actually talk about that in one of my videos. Very good question. Sometimes I don't say it's impossible. Sometimes it's complicated to make that happen, but you always want to aim for that for sure. So that's a really good question. Chevy Girl says, how can I get on a load board without a subscription or paying? I want to see what it looks like. I believe DAT still has a 30-day free trial. Don't quote me on that. They might have changed it since the last time, but I definitely believe that they still have it. If they don't, they have what's the word I'm looking for? They have oh man, I can't think of the name. It's a kind of mode that you're not actually using it. You're just looking at how it operates. Why can't I think of the term? Not trial mode, but I can't think of the term. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so you can access it without paying. Every load board is different too, though. Bruce says, much sense. Great. So Nevaeh says, do you make more money with finding all your loads through the load boards, or do you cold call companies? So You're not necessarily allowed as a dispatcher to cold call shippers if that's what you mean by that. Um, unless your carrier gives you the authorization to communicate with a shipper on their behalf, then you know that you're well within your right because they'll authorize it if the shipper says anything. So test mode, yeah, test mode, tutoring mode, demo mode. That's what it is. You hit it right on the money. I was thinking like test mode. It is that, but demo mode. So they have a demo mode. Most load boards have a demo mode. Thank you for that. Can I dispatch with just a laptop just to start up until I can afford the desktop? Absolutely. All you really need is a laptop, and you don't even need a separate business number. It's just recommended so you don't conflate personal and business operations. You know, sometimes you have crazy drivers. You don't want them to have your personal number. Any tips on having a regular sleeping schedule while doing dispatching without employees? Does this become an issue as you get more business? Yes and no. Let's say you have about 3 trucks. Um, you can easily dispatch 3 trucks and get a good 8 hours in, just like as if you were at any other job. The only thing with dispatching is you have to be on board at all times. That's the only thing. You kind of have to be on board at all times, So if a driver needs to call you for something at 2 and 3 in the morning, you got to be on board. So it's not likely or even common, but you do. Man, that's good, but that tastes weird. What the heck? And you guys ever had that? This one? It's good, but it tastes weird. Man, tastes like they added something to that. All right. Good evening. Good evening, Tiffany. Which one should I go for demo mode? Yeah, if you go on the DAT website, it should be able to show you. And I'm asking if I filter carriers looking for loads, can I dispatch one load for them and then get a percentage for the one load for the day, but do that for multiple carriers? Okay. You can, but here's the problem with that. And if hypothetically, if you were able to book one carrier, a particular carrier for one load just for the day, you're able to do that, but you have to have a signed agreement. So it sounds simple and easy, but let's say you see a carrier looking for a load, you got them a load, and you want to book them on that load. Well, the thing is, they have to fill out a carrier agreement form with you, so that way you're within your legal rights. Because then you'd be operating kind of as a freelancer, and technically, under the FMCSA regulations, you'd be considered a freight broker. So let's say you found a carrier, book them on a load. As long as they sign a carrier agreement form with you, they're signed up with you. They sign a POA, and you're able to do that all like that in one quick shot. Then absolutely, you'll be able to do that as long as they have an ongoing agreement with you. It doesn't mean they have to continue to utilize your services in the future, but as long as you have a document with their signature, then yes, then you're good to go. Elizabeth says, do you have videos showing how to book a load step by step? Yeah, I actually have a video. Look up Covenant Dispatch LLC, how to book a load step by step. I actually have a video just for that. I was looking at the Verizon One Talk and not sure if it's good. Yeah, Verizon One Talk isn't that bad. I guess it just depends on. I don't use it myself, but I've heard of. I get people that say they've used it and they enjoy what they've been able to get out of the subscription plan they got. So maybe it just depends on the subscription plan. Any advice on starting dispatch and hiring employees? Somebody literally just asked that question. I would say when you do, just make sure you have at least about 7 to 8 drivers and you're able to help them. in the event that it gets a little bit hectic. Because the thing is, let's say you have like 4 drivers and you hire an employee to dispatch them, and then 2 of the drivers go AWOL. Well, then you still got to pay your employee, and then you're stuck with 2 drivers. So, or you can keep them on an independent contractor as an independent contractor and just do like a split, like a 70-30 split, 80-20 split with a base pay. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. But whenever you're looking to hire anybody, you have those 2 options, independent contractor or employee. Just make sure that they fall under the category of independent contractor. That way, the IRS isn't on your tail. So Miss Wanda says, any suggestions for a new dispatcher business? There's so many, but I'll say this: do your due diligence, learn the industry. If that means binge watch YouTube videos, do that. If that means buy a course, do that. If that means get some mentorship, then do that. But learn the industry so that you're not, caught running into situations that you don't know how to handle. Which that's gonna happen no matter what. But the more prepared you are, the better. Good question. Nevaeh said, when's the best time to find loads on the load board? Anywhere from 7 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the best time. And then about 12 to like 3, it's not as active. And then like 4 to like 7, it's active again. Bad aftertaste. Yeah, that's what it is. This thing has a bad aftertaste. It tastes like I'm drinking like I don't know how to explain it. Like, it almost tastes like it has like alcohol in it. Yeah, I'm not drinking that. That's not good. Yeah, it's a cold brew. It's one of them canned cold brews. I'm cool. I'm dumping that thing. I think they got something modified in there or something. Yeah, demo mode. What would you say is the best way to acquire carriers? The best way is to find a marketing strategy that works for you and then capitalize on it. It's the best way. I like that split, 80-20. Yeah, you could do 80-20. You could do 75-25. Or you could do 85-15 and then just give them a base pay. It's a bunch of different ways you could do it. How long does the process of the agreement take with the carrier and broker? Yeah, it could be time consuming. Like, let's say you're booking a load for a carrier and then you find the broker that has a load, but that carrier isn't set up with that broker. Well, now you need to fill out that broker packet on behalf of the carrier, and that could be time consuming if you don't have the information already to fill it out, if that makes sense. Which you would get that information typically from the agreement form that you have with that carrier. Does that make sense? Your video helped. It was on employer versus, I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about. I have a very detailed video on that. That was a very detailed video. Typically, people don't put those kinds of videos on YouTube. They'll add that to the course or something. But I love details. Details help you understand better, of course. How simple is the booking process to you? And how feasible do you think entry into dispatch market is? The process of booking load is very easy. I actually have a friend that he dispatches with me, and he lives in Dominican Republic, and he didn't know anything, and he literally learned after booking. So he knew the basics somewhat, but after his first week of booking loads is when he got the swing of it. So booking loads are really easy. I think strategizing the way you book loads and organizing and route planning and things like that, those are the things that can get a little hard. So if you have like 3 to 5 trucks, you could do it sloppy. You could do it just like, oh yeah, have your paperwork everywhere, and then it could be a little confusing. But if you have like a good plan in place, a good strategy, a good way that you do it, it's very easy. Now, how feasible do you think it is to enter into the dispatching market? I always say this. The last time I checked, FreightWaves, which is a reputable source that gives information out when it comes to the trucking industry, They estimate about 40,000 dispatch companies are currently in the United States. So there's about 2 million truck drivers at any given time in the United States. So whatever that ratio is, I think it's like, what's that ratio? I don't have my calculator here, but it's an it's not an oversaturated market, because out of that 40,000, I'd be willing to bet 30% of them are professional, and the other 70% are just registered, but they're not professional and they don't do anything. So it's not really a competitive market, in my opinion. If you have all your ducks in a row and you got everything set up right, as long as you know the industry and you're professional, you have a place in the industry. What do you think about that name for my LLC? Finding freight for all truckers. Girl Logistics. Um, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like really long. So it's up to you. Whatever you want to name it. I would recommend maybe just shrinking it down a little bit. It's a really long name. Uh, but hey, you go with what you're comfortable with. I'm nobody to tell you what to put as your business name. Um, okay, so let me see. Off rip. It says, sorry, I meant how long does it take for the agreement form with the dispatcher and carrier? So when you send the agreement form to the carrier, it should take them no more than about 10 minutes to fill out. Um, and then the packet that you have to fill out for the carrier on behalf of for the broker on behalf of the carrier takes about the same amount of time. If it's an electronic carrier packet, it's usually a lot sooner than that you'll be able to fill it out. All right, I'm trying to catch up on all these questions. When a carrier is not able to do a load, what is that is already booked? How do you handle that situation? Really good question. I actually talked about that today with somebody that I had a one-on-one phone call with. The best way to handle that situation is to be in communication with the broker. Don't just leave the broker hanging. Let them know what's going on. Be honest, be transparent. If you have the contact information for the shipper, contact the shipper or the receiver and let them know what's going on. And other than that, there's not much you can do. That's one of those situations where it's just part of the industry. In that situation, you kind of just have to bite the dust. It makes you look bad in a way. But as long as you stay in communication with the broker and just be very nice to them, be very calm, it'll help. It'll help you out in the long run, because you won't have that reputation as being like a sleaze, right? So I'm looking to start up Real Authentic Sounds. Yeah, I mean, go for it, man. Go for it. And it's, the industry is still a fresh industry, I believe. Cold calling carriers on the FMCSA site, how successful is that? Because I saw someone say you'll get lucky if you get 1 or 2 carriers for every 100 calls. Yeah, cold calling altogether is very tough. First of all, people don't pick up. Second of all, if they do pick up, they're nasty to you. And then if they do pick up and they're good to you, I mean, you have to call like 100, 150 before you get that one person. So it depends on your personality. If you like to talk on the phone, then go for it. If not, I just recommend sending emails. Is an LLC a good way to start up if I'm going to be doing it alone or get a sole proprietorship? So I recommend getting an LLC, and you can actually register your company as a single member LLC. The LLC helps you keep your personal assets separate from your business assets. So that way, let's say you have a truck, and especially with a trucking company, you want an LLC. Well, if you're starting off as a dispatch company, that too, but like, let's say you have a dispatching company and you have a bunch that, let's say you have 2 offices and you have a bunch of, computers, a bunch of desktops. Let's say you have company trucks or whatever, company cars or whatever. All of those things are subject to be taken from you if you're sued or anything like that, because when you have a sole proprietorship, your personal assets and your business assets remain the same, or they're all under the same category. So LLC just separates that. So that's all it really does. So I recommend LLC all the time. Should you add medical card to your carrier packet? What do you mean by that? Do you mean like, should you add a question on whether that carrier has a medical card? It's a great job on your channel. I just want to say thank you and keep them coming for us, aspiring to be great. I thank you so much for that comment, Tiffany. I appreciate it. So, guys, I'll be on here for like another 10 minutes. So, let's get these questions going. You guys been asking some really, really good questions. How about this? I'll ask you guys a question. Who's here because they're interested in the box trucking industry or just the trucking industry altogether? That's what I'm curious about. All right. So we got, okay. Me. Okay, we got trucking industry. I'm here for trucking industry. I purchased your dispatching course, but my ultimate goal is to have a box truck company. That's awesome. I'm here for box trucking, a dispatcher and box truck. I will have my company up and going in a week. That's awesome. Dispatching, that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. I love it. Keep me in contact too. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, you need any help with anything. Um, you know what I love? So my favorite part about trucking, well, how about this? My favorite thing to talk about when it comes to trucking is the back end stuff. So like the paperwork you need to have, the different things that you need to do to remain in compliance. Um, you know, strategical things that you can do to help your business reach a higher profit margin, like stuff like that. I love stuff like that. Stuff like that I think people overlook, and then and they miss out on a lot of money. So I love talking about stuff like that. So you know, anything that you want to ask me that will help you, you know, I learned the hard way. I got pulled over. I got violations. I got one time I got a violation because, and this is something a lot of truck drivers don't even know. If you're using your phone as a GPS, you have to have a mount, and a particular mount at that, which is crazy. I didn't know that. I'll be honest. Which is probably not smart, but I didn't have a mount at the time because I was just so busy doing loads that I actually just was using my phone and I propped it on a thing, which is not smart. But I want to be a box truck dispatching safety company. That's awesome. Ooh, I love it. Dispatching and safety company. I love it. I love it. It's a really good idea. Safety's so important, so necessary. Man, that's good. That's good. Sometimes people think small. That's thinking big. You can actually, one of the services that you can offer for as a dispatching business is safety and compliance. You can hire somebody and then have them handle the safety and compliance for all your trucking companies. Making sure they have their ELDs, making sure that you're auditing their logbooks, making sure they're doing their post trip, their pre trip inspections, making sure their tires are good, making sure that they're following their hours of service, all that good stuff. One second. Yeah, so that's awesome, man. I like that. I like that. I'll tell you what, too, guys. What I'm gonna do for you guys is I always do this when I do a Q&A. And some of you guys might have seen me on my channel because I do giveaways all the time. I'm not going to do one for a little bit just because I did one recently and I give away, man, I've given away probably about 30 courses, to be honest. Probably maybe about 35. Maybe about 35 courses just to help people out. I'm not, I had somebody comment recently on one of my videos and say, "You're not that transparent because all you're trying to do is sell your course." And I'm like, you must have not stuck around my channel. I give away tons of courses, and I have the cheapest course. For sure, absolutely, positively. I had someone reach out to me recently, and they said, "Man, and I'm gonna keep the person confidential, but they reached out to me, and they teach the same thing, and they said, man, you charge so cheap. You're undercutting yourself for what you sell." And I'm just like, well, you know, I'm not, I'm not looking necessarily to come up off of people. I mean, it's just trying to get good information out there for a good price. No, so anyway, so yeah, but I had someone comment and say that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. When people put comments like that, I'll be honest, I hide them from my channel. People try to come on here and say dumb stuff, and it's like, come on, man. I'm not gonna allow that negativity on my page. And now, if you give me constructive criticism, I'll take that all day. But you act like that, I won't even block you. I'll just hide you from my channel. So it's funny because people say stuff like that, and then they go looking for my channel right after I hide them. It's like, why are you looking for my channel? I'd love to have that course. One day I will purchase it. Thank you for your time. You say you will give away 2 courses, but end up giving away 5 or 6. Oh my goodness, yeah, all the time. I mean, the amount of knowledge you have in your videos, it's in depth. I really, really appreciate that. Like I said, guys, and then you guys can. I'm always open to constructive criticism, feedback. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things that, a lot of times people comment and say stuff, and I say, "Oh yeah, I can add that or I can adjust that." Oh, but that's what I was gonna say. This is something I'm gonna do for you guys up until 12 a.m. So I do it every time I come on Q&A. So I'm gonna have my dispatcher course. I'm gonna put it for 40% off. I don't think I've ever done that. I'm gonna put it for 40% off, and it's gonna expire at 12 at midnight tonight. You know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let it expire tomorrow at midnight. So tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Technically is when it'll stop. So, that means it'll be good. What is that? Technically, it'll be good up until the 3rd, technically. So I'm gonna do a 40% off on the dispatcher course. Now I'll say this because typically our dispatcher course is what most people are interested in. If someone is on here and they're interested in our box truck course, I'll also do a 40% off on that. But that that's gonna expire at midnight. But if there's someone that says I'm interested in the box truck course, you have to let me know, and I'll do it for tonight, 40% off. I'll probably never do that again, but so just to let you guys know that. Oh, and I'm sorry, the discount code to get the dispatcher course for 40% off is literally 40 off. The link to access any of our courses or trainings are in the description under every single one of our videos, and we pin it at the comment. We pin it at the top of every comment. So every comment section of the video, we pin the link to access that. So 40% off of our dispatcher course. So I'll take about a couple more questions, and let me know what you guys. How long do you think I'll take to get a carrier on board? That's a good question. It really depends on who you are. Not who you are. It kind of does depend on who you are, but it depends on how. Look, it really depends on how hungry you are to get that driver. I love this story. I use it all the time. I had a person take our course. He called 300 people. He was cold calling, and he said he was about to give up. He said he called his 300th driver, and that driver got on board with him, and then that driver brought in another driver, and I think they have like 6 or 7 drivers now. So, you can do email marketing. Go super hard. Whatever marketing strategy you decide you want to use, go super hard with that. If it's email marketing, send it out 2,000 a week and don't stop. Or you can outsource it and pay somebody to do it for you. So your teaching style is the best, man. just bless me. I appreciate that comment so much. I think I'm hard on myself sometimes. I feel like I don't add good information sometimes in my videos, but I think I just me being hard on myself. I feel like, man, I gotta add more detail. I gotta add more detail. I appreciate that. I really do. How much is it? How much is what? Our independent freight dispatcher course is 269.99. Our box truck course is I believe it's 179.99. So whatever 40% off of that is, yeah, 40 off. That's literally the discount code that you'll use to get to access the discount. You just put 40OFF. That's it, and it'll get in there. I'm starving. I'm going for 3 in 2 weeks. Carriers, here I come. Let's go. Let's go. I'm with you. I'm with you. I believe you'll get them. I believe you'll get them for sure. See you next time. All right, Chevy girl, I'll see you. You mentioned safety as a service. What are the top services that the dispatch company can or should offer for maximum profit, service profit? Good question. So you, of course, your typical service is dispatching. Then you got factoring. A lot of people like to add detention or TONU, which I don't think I have enough time to flesh that out, but those are just two different things that you'd be helping your driver get in the event that it came down to it. You can do IFTA filing. You can do logbook edits. I mean, it's so, think about it like this. Anything a trucking company does administrative wise, you can handle and offer that service, if that makes sense. So, I enjoyed the course. I have just had problems getting drivers, so I might get a one-on-one with you to see where I'm missing things. Yeah, all of our links are there if you wanna go ahead and do that. We can line something up. We can get you scheduled on a call. I would say this though. Go back, double check the course, double check the videos we post on Facebook. And if you still can't find the answers you need, then book a one-on-one call. Because I don't want you to spend money on a one-on-one call and then you find out, oh man, I didn't really need that. I had a few people do that. They booked a one-on-one call, and the answer, this one particular person, it only happened like 2 or 3 times, but there's one person that I had, he was like, he asked me a question and I said, I have that on this particular video on the course. And he was like, yeah, I watched it. And I said, well, and I pulled up the course video and I said, look, and I'm explaining it. And he was like, oh man, so I ended up giving him like 50%. No, did I give him 50%? I might have given him 50% off on the one-on-one. So if you're just starting as a dispatcher and need the money ASAP, is it smart to dispatch last mile and cargo vans or just flatbeds and dry vans? That's a good question. Dispatching cargo vans, you'll have gray hair in 2 weeks. I don't recommend it. Dispatching last mile, now I don't necessarily know how. Well, you could dispatch last mile by just being the person who facilitates the deliveries that go out. So any last mile contract, the broker or the shipper route plan. So you don't have to route plan. But what you could do, so I'll give you an example. Lowe's has a last mile delivery option. Home Depot does. IKEA has them. You could be the go-to person that goes and meets with the drivers every morning in the warehouse, make sure every single one of them are loaded, got all the stuff they need, and you can be the go-to person that they contact if they run into any issues. So you'd be like the mediator between them and the boss, because some people just want to invest their money in something and have someone else handle it. So you could be that person. So if you're doing last mile, you could do that. But last mile, you wouldn't really be dispatching. Technically, you wouldn't really be dispatching. So flatbeds and dry vans are the way to go for sure. Flatbed. And you know what's another slept on carrier? Hot shots. Hot shots. Guys, hot shots are an awesome way to an awesome equipment type to start with for sure. Hot shots are great. Paul says, just stopping through to say thank you for all that you do, Francisco. Paul, I really, really appreciate that, man. I appreciate you guys' love today, man. You guys are awesome, for real. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate that. Will do. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and knowledge. How do you hire other dispatchers once you have more trucks? The best way to do that is, and we talked about it just a little bit earlier, you want to consider whether you're going to hire them as an employee or as an independent contractor. If you hire them as an employee, you're gonna incur certain fees, and like you have to pay payroll tax, unemployment tax, workers comp. You have to give them incentives like paid time off and all that. I just do an independent contractor, have them as like an agent under your company, and just do a split 80-20, 75-25, 85-15, and then maybe add a base pay in there, however you feel would work best with what you got going on. Tiffany says, what website do I go to for new MCs? I'm trying to get the small company directory. You can go to, I like this website called carriersource.com. And then you can also go to the FMCSA directory. I don't have the link like right now to be able to type it in, but a quick Google search will lead you right to it. Warren J says, job well done. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, T-Bows. If I'm saying that right, T-Bows be T-Boz, T-Bows, T-Boz. It says, thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off of here. Once again, we have our independent freight dispatcher course for 40% off. It's gonna expire tomorrow. So if you want to take advantage of that, you're gonna utilize discount code 40 off. If somebody doesn't mind, can you guys type that? Literally 40 OFF. That's it. 40 OFF. The link to access the course is gonna be in the description under every single one of our videos on YouTube. So just click a random video, go in the description, and it's also pinned at every single one of our comment sections, the link to access the course. 40 off. Thank you so much for putting that in there, Bruce. It's just like that. It's 40 OFF if you're interested in it. I've never done 40% off. I've never done that. So I'll have it up until tomorrow. I'll post it on my social media and stuff too, so that people know. But I'll have it expire at 12 tomorrow. Another thing I'm gonna do also is if you guys are interested in the box truck course, because we also have a box truck course, I'll do 40% on that. I'll do 40% off on that too, if someone's interested in that. If not, I'm just gonna leave it, because typically people are interested in the dispatching course. But if someone on here said, hey, I'm interested in actually the box truck course and not the dispatcher course, I'll do that 40% off for you just for today, and I'll end it at 12 or actually at midnight. So thank you guys so much. I'm getting ready to so 40 off, that's what it looks like. Code 40 off. How about this? Are you guys confused about anything that I just said right now? If not, I just want to make sure that, we're not left with confusion before I jump off. Other than that, I really hope and pray you guys have a blessed rest of your night. And then I won't be on tomorrow, so, have a good weekend. And we have our email information too in the description under every single one of our videos. So go get our email, get in contact with us if you have questions too. How to dispatch box trucks or to like own a box truck. So to own a box truck, you have to find a good priced box truck. I wouldn't get any box truck over 400,000 miles, because at that point it's not worth it. You're going to want to look for Kenworth or Hino. I guess that's just my preference, those model brands of box truck. And I would look for a 26-foot box truck with a liftgate, electric liftgate that tucks under the bed. So basically the liftgate is electronic and it goes under the bed of the trailer. I recommend, if you're going to look for a box truck, go with that. How do you dispatch them? That's a long question to answer, but you find freight for them on the load board, basically, is the best way to answer that. At what stage should someone consider your box truck course if they're starting as a dispatcher? If you're starting as a dispatcher, the box truck course won't really help you that much. I mean, what is the course box truck? Sorry. Also, yeah, our box truck course just basically shows you how you can start your own box truck course by building a junk removal company, a moving company, or a box truck that's going to be over the road. So you're booking loads on the load board for your box truck. So that's three different ways. Three different ways that you can do it. Most people just talk about Amazon Relay, last mile delivery, contracts and things like that. I talk about three different ways. So you can diversify how you want to go about it. So we talk about all that. Yeah. So I didn't see a place to put the website. There should be one. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't verify the code. So now the discount code is, you can use it now. I apologize. I apologize. So now you can utilize it if you want to do it. So yeah, so that's what that is. The box truck course teaches you that. So other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for your kind comments, your um, you know, compliments that you guys have given me for the videos that we put out. We're gonna start putting out. I would love to put out a video every Friday if I could. Um, so but I can't. I see it now. So yeah, so the discount code's up now. So now you can utilize it. But yeah, so I'm trying my best to get a video out every Friday, but I got a lot of other things going on. So I'm gonna try my best to do that. Um, until then, enjoy the videos that we do put out. Are there how about this before I get off? Are there any suggestions for videos that you guys want me to put? Like what 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 do you want me to talk about next? I have videos already that I'm getting ready to do and things that I'm going to talk about in those videos, but what do you guys want to see me talk about in our next video and find detail? Warren J, thank you so much for putting that on there. 40 off. That's the discount code you're going to use to access our independent freight dispatcher course for 40% off. Ends tomorrow. Back to door dashing. Thank you again. Thank you for jumping on here, Tiffany. So, okay. I truly would like you to do a day in the life. That's a really good one. Those are a little bit more complicated just because, to record while you're working, but I'll try to put that together for you guys. I'll try to put that together for you guys. 161.99 with the 40% discount. That's awesome. So the course is 269.99. With the 40% off, it's only 161.99. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, guys. So like I said, uh, any suggestions for videos that you want me to make? Tiffany said a day in the life. I'll put that in consideration. Any other videos before I get off of here? Any other suggestions? Nobody? Nobody? You got 22 people on here. All right. I'd like a discussion on the software boards since it seems there are multiple. So you're talking about like load boards. Yeah, that's another good suggestion. Cool. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that for sure. I don't know if the comments are taking long to load. I don't want to jump off in the middle of someone's comment. I'll give it like one more minute just to make sure I'm not jipping anybody. Just want to make sure I'm not jipping anybody. All right, yeah, it looks like no one else has anything to say. That's all I have today, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm getting ready to jump off. One man, I've been on in here for an hour and 10 minutes. One last time, our dispatcher course is 40% off. If you're just jumping on, it's gonna end tomorrow by midnight. To access our course, the link is in the description under every single one of our videos. It's also pinned to the top of our comments. If you want to access our course for 40% off, that's where you're gonna go, and that's the code that you're gonna use. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining me on here. I'll see you guys on the next Q&A that we do. Time period from dispatching your first truck, a load to quitting your job. That's a good one. I'll take that in consideration as well. But guys, thank you so much for jumping on here. I'll see you guys in the next video that we post, or maybe the next Q&A. All right, see ya.